Hello, fight fans. What's up, Beefy Boys viewers? Very, very special episode this week. I am very excited to announce episode 100. Dope little milestone. Haven't missed a single card, and we've had plenty of reasons to. There's always a reason not to do something, right? Hey, numbers are what they are. Channel is where it's at. But all you can control is your attitude and effort. And the fact that we hit 100 in a fucking row, I'm going to be proud of that. I'm going to choose to be proud of that. And I hope you can reward some of our perseverance, whether subscribe to our YouTube channel, maybe even leave a comment, click a like button, help your boys out. 100 in a row. Not easy, mind you. Yeah. I don't know. Hard work pays off is what they say. So help it pay off with a subscribe. Here's Harrison now.
Yo, what up?
Episode 100, my brother, man. We fucking
Yes,
made
sir.
it to the milestone, man. Feels fucking good. If you're watching this right now, please go subscribe. 100 episodes in a row. It's not an easy feat.
Not at all. Honestly,
No.
not at all. Think about all the things that we have gone through, as far as shifting time, keeping a schedule, sleeping 4 hours in a night.
Oh, yeah. Watching fights on my wedding night. Fucking.
Yeah. Anniversary
COVID.
now.
Yeah, anniversary today. Hey, dedicated, man. Fucking, like I said, reward your boys. Support the channel. Beefy Boys Breakdown on YouTube. Beefy Breakdown on Twitter. Twitter's been popping lately.
Twitter has been popping. I do agree entirely with that. I also got to give a big shout out to you. I won't give away the what it was, but you did have a 2-dog parlay that cashed that was huge. Huge, as they would say.
Yeah, no, definitely cashed the parlay. Came out in the green this week. Feels good. Been a little bit of a drought, but it's hard to even call it a drought when you're going 5 for 6. And
Yeah, I know it.
Five.
Breaking or getting the whole card right minus one fight.
No doubt, no doubt. And then this card was really cool from a non-predictability factor. So many dogs cashed, which definitely crushed my four-legger, but
definitely got the 4-legger was tough, but honestly, it doesn't matter when you come out positive money-wise, though.
100%, 100%. We were joking around. We won money this week, and the past 2 weeks, we've been one bet out of a massive parlay, a 5-6-legger, and I was joking that damn, this is how you know I'm a fucking egotistical fuck, because I think I'd rather go 5 for 6 and fucking lose money
than 1 for 4.
Than 1 for 4.
Well, it's fucked up too, because that 4-legger was a favorites 4-legger. You know what I'm saying? The payout wasn't even really that big on it, or the multiplier. It was more hey, these guys should be sure bets, and then of course those are the ones that fuck us, and then the dogs were on the table.
No doubt.
Dogs were barking last night. That is a big theme of this card last night. I also think that we got one of the fights of the year contenders.
A bunch of sick debuts as well.
Yeah, no doubt. Yeah, the heavyweight fight between Brzezicki and Boudet was crazy.
Man, I'll go out on a limb and say that the first 7 fights on this card were twice as good as the first 7 fights on next week's pay-per-view. Next week's pay-per-view is thin. These next couple pay-per-views are thin, if I'm being honest. Very top-heavy cards. And, we're the prelim boys. We're going to talk about the prelims. We're going to watch the prelims. But, in the words of Chael Sonnen, if these guys walked in here right now and kicked me in the nuts, I wouldn't be able to tell you who it was. I don't know, man. But
we can tell you who the first guy was, because we've been on his hype train for a long time. Just jumping into it, why not, right? Yusuf Zalal is back in the UFC. Was on some hard times, I guess, has been on hard times, or is, up to this point of this fight, is on hard times, right? And he has a tough opponent here in Damon Blackshear. He's a regional circuit guy. Honestly, I expected this to be a good fight. I didn't expect Zalal to fight the way he fought it. And he is the minus 135 favorite. Blackshear is the plus 115 underdog. So close odds. Vegas expected a close fight. I really like this fight. I enjoyed the way this fight was fought between both guys.
Yeah, man, and seeing Zalal at bantamweight and realizing that whenever he was, on that L streak, it was all taking place at featherweight. He was the smaller guy in the cage at bantamweight. So him at
I know it. But he looks skinny to make bantamweight too. He looks really skinny.
Yeah, I mean, body structures are so weird like that. Like two people can like look similar size but weigh a quite substantial different amount.
And I mean, I guess what am I saying? 135, like any human that's 135 is going to be skinny.
Yeah, 100%, especially a grown man. But yeah, man, Blackshear making his debut, plus 115, slight dog. Zalal minus 135, like I said, taking place at bantamweight. Man, round one, I mean, I had it pretty easily 10-9 Zalal. However, I mean, he had the takedown, he had the control, landed a few elbows, wasn't the most active round, but I mean, he controlled most of the round from top position. But at the very end of the round, Blackshear got on his back and, started threatening some subs, didn't do a ton of damage, but, and in the round on somebody's back
that was a weird
signals.
It definitely does, and I agree with you 10-9 to Zalal. I had it as such for the 3 minutes of control. He got that nice takedown. He had good leg kicks before. I mean, I thought he won the round. I thought it was close, but I don't think it was, going to be a Blackshear round. Reason I say that, though, or reason I thought that was weird, or maybe I discredited his back control, was each guy kept taking each other's back. They would transition from back to back.
Yeah, those back-to-back scrambles were pretty wild and pretty entertaining, to be honest.
Very entertaining, yeah, because it was more so that, like, neither guy was the best grappler. I think they're both better strikers, but they were kind of neutralizing each other on the feet. So then they went to the wrestling, and I mean,
neutralized each other there too. I mean,
it was weird. Yeah.
I mean, the transitions, the scrambles were really even. I think once Zalal was able to settle into a position, he was better at maintaining said position.
Yes, for sure.
But the in-betweens were pretty goddamn even in how they were getting to said position up. And yeah, definitely important to go round by round because we have some weird scorecards. And I don't agree with any of the three judges on this one. My scorecard is pretty unique. So
I'm glad you say that because I disagree with them very heavily. Very heavily.
It'd be cool if we agree with each other. Can't wait to see how you scored at round two. Why don't you go ahead and let us know?
So round two, this is where they start going from their back to the other guy's back. Somehow Blackshear escapes the rear naked and gets onto Zalal's back, which made no sense. Blackshear almost got the sub, I thought, at the end of the round.
Yeah.
I thought for that, and it being a mostly grappling round with not a lot of damage, I went 10-9 to Blackshear for that round.
Yeah, 100%. This was like one of – you ever watch a football game, like a high-scoring college football game, and you hear the announcer say the cliche statement like, whoever has the ball last is going to win this one. That's kind of how round two of this fight went. It was so even. Each guy took each other's back, I think, like 2 or 3 times each. And then so it was essentially whoever took the back last, if you're just going to take turns taking each other's back, was going to win the round. I mean, that's an oversimplification, but that's what it reminded me of. I saw it the same way you did. 10-9 Blackshear, not a lot of damage for either guy. It was essentially whoever was going to end the round in dominant position because they were just swapping and scrambling the entire round.
Yeah, well, and that also means that, we have a 19-19 fight going to the third, so it's almost a winner-take-all third round for me, right?
Do you have the scorecards pulled up for this?
Yeah, I do. So all three judges
agree with us?
All three judges have it 20-18 Blackshear. All three.
Wow,
I disagree entirely. I don't know how all three can give round one. Round two, I get. All three should have round two for him. Round one should have been a split between at least one judge giving it to Zalal. If we're both saying we thought Zalal, there's no way all three of these judges. I mean, we watched the last 100 cards. How many fights is that, man? That's, literally 1,200 fights probably. You know what I mean?
Well, yeah, and I mean, how do you steal around without really any damage? I mean,
that's my thing too.
With like 45 seconds left after losing like 3.5 minutes of the round.
Well, and you can't tell me that it's based on control because Zalal had way more of that.
Way more control. Yeah, no, that's pretty weird. Like I said, I mean, we talked about it in our round one breakdown. Like, Blackshear ending the round on the back, like, yeah, maybe made it a little murky, maybe gave you pause, maybe made you think about it, but definitely didn't do enough to like steal a round. It definitely didn't do enough to win a round outright without stealing a round. So that's a weird one. That's a weird one. But
I didn't think that was the case. I'm just seeing these scorecards for the first time today, and I cannot believe that, man.
Yeah, and like I said, I can't wait to get to round three because I think round three is really where it gets kind of, subjective on how you score it. I mean, as far as like the 10-9 must system. So,
Zalal's corner tells him abandon the grappling. You're better than him on the feet. Be on the feet. Win on the feet. You have to win this round. It could be anybody's fight. I mean, I think they saw it the same way we did, where like it's toss ups in round one, kind of not really a toss up in two, but still a close fight. And if you're thinking that Blackshear won two, you're probably thinking Zalal won one because those are kind of similar rounds, but for the opposite for either guy, right?
yeah, no, I see it the same way. No,
So
round three.
his striking takes off, and he starts to dominate with big body shots, nice kicks. Drops Blackshear with the big body kick near the end. I thought he dominated for 5 minutes. I said 10-8. That's what is it to be a 10-8 if you don't dominate the round?
I saw it 10-8 too, and you can use your definition of a 10-8, which I agree with. You can use the kind of antiquated definition of a 10-8 of like, could this round have been stopped? Arguably should have. Like,
right.
I mean, it's saved by the bell. I mean,
shout out to Herb Dean for not stepping in. Herb Dean was close a couple times.
Yeah, definitely. I mean, beat him up on the feet, beat him down on the ground, has a knockdown. It's even a 10-8 in boxing. I mean, I think it checks a lot of 10-8 boxes. Apparently, we're out on an island on this one.
Well, two judges do go 10-8 in this round.
Two judges go 10-8, but
crazy. They think this is a 10-8, but Zalal didn't win the first round.
Yeah, no, granted, those rounds look very, very different, but I totally see the point you're getting at just from like a who's winning perspective. Yeah, very weird scorecards across the board. Very weird decision that we get to. This fight does go the distance, obviously.
Yeah, so I guess for people at home that have done the math already, if all three judges had it 20-18 and two of them have it 10-8 for Zalal, it's 28-28 on two of the cards, which is a majority draw. One judge does have 10-9 for Zalal in the third, meaning he actually has Blackshear winning 29-28, which I fully disagree with. I expected this to be majority draw with one card for Zalal. Rounds 1 and 3 being a 10-9 from some judge that didn't give it a 10-8, because I do see why you don't give it a 10-8. I mean, I really don't, though. I really don't, though.
I'm pretty confident in my 29-27. Like, I really think 29-27 paints the picture of this fight, which I guess the judge's job isn't to paint the picture of the fight, but it kind of should reflect, the ebbs and flows of the fight, the highs and the lows of each fighter. And I thought Zalal's highs were way higher than Blackshear. Like, think about it. Blackshear spent like probably a total of like 1 minute in a dominant position. Didn't really win any striking exchanges. I don't think he had a takedown.
If we're going just based on he had one takedown on 5 attempts, and Zalal had his one takedown on his one attempt, and then the rest of it was just scrambles. They do give Damon Blackshear for almost 4 minutes of control time. But I guess that makes sense when you consider when he was transitioning to the back and then would get his back taken. Because Zalal has 5 minutes of control time.
But if you're counting scrambles, I considered most of that. Yeah, I mean, I don't know. That's kind of tough.
But he only landed 40 strikes. Zalal landed 82.
Doubled him. Yeah, I mean, that's.
And I know that's mostly the third round, to be fair. I think it's really close rounds 1 and 2.
That alludes to the 10-8, which they did give it a 10-8. So I guess on that part, we can't be too salty out of it. I don't know.
I wrote I could see 28-28. I really can't see 29-28 for Blackshear. That's the one where I'm like, I can't see that.
Yeah, you're right. And I'll be real. I'll give plenty of pushback because I don't think taking a guy's back the last 45 seconds of a round, not getting that close to a sub, not doing any damage, like after getting controlled, and out scrambled for the rest of the round. I mean, I don't know. To me, that's just like some casual judging. To be like, that's how you'd expect the guy at the bar at Buffalo Wild Wings, like, oh well, that was a street fight. He ended on top. Blah 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 blah. I need another fucking 10-piece boneless over here. But like seriously, like, I don't know what's going on here.
Of course, boneless too.
Oh, definitely. Those type of guys eating the boneless wings for sure. But yeah, man, so we end up with the draw. Nobody likes that. I'm pretty sure neither guy gets a win bonus.
The way Zalal was acting, he was acting like he won the fight. I feel like he was justified in acting that way.
I agree, man. Especially when he's on a skid. That's tough for Zalal. I think, what is he on, a 1 and 3 skid or something along those lines?
Something like that. Let me see real fast. I believe it was 1. Yeah, he had lost his 3 in a row. I mean, Ilya Topuria
Oh,
Uh,
absolute savage and a lightweight, I believe. So
yeah, right. Well, now he's back down at feather, but he
he's
is.
bounced
So
up.
he. But
He's a
point being, he's
tweener.
a big dude, whereas
Yeah.
Zalal clearly isn't. Sung Woo Choi, who literally just fought a ranked opponent in his last fight, and then Sean Woodson. The Sean Woodson fight was tough. I think stylistically the
Well,
matchup was tough
I was
for him
about to
there.
say, Sean Woodson's the biggest featherweight, or the tallest, longest featherweight in the division. He's like 6'2". I mean, he's the Jalen Turner of featherweight. I mean, I I don't even think the Sean Woodson loss is a bad loss. Yeah, this is tough getting the draw. You know, feel for Zalal. I mean, on Blackshear, I don't really feel for him because I think that was a hell of a debut. I mean, I thought,
Me too. And I mean, short
especially,
notice. I mean, he was in camp for a fight, but yeah, to be a late minute replacement and have that good of a performance, the UFC clearly is going to want to see him again.
yeah, for sure, man. So I guess we can keep it pushing, man. We didn't bet that fight. Didn't really have a pick in that fight.
Good
Vegas didn't
thing.
really either. Yeah, for sure. Would have been a push, but yeah, keeping it pushing to the second fight, but the first leg, we got Jason Witt plus 240 taking on Josh Quinlan minus 285, making his debut. This fight took place at catchweight. We got to get into a little bit of the backstory on Quinlan here because we were texting. You know, we usually text back and forth days leading up to the fights, just like what bets you like in, what, you know, just talking like, you know, from like a betting perspective, what we're seeing from the card. And I didn't know anything about this. You were talking about like Quinlan. He got popped after his Dana White Contender Series fight for roids,
And then
and
removed from last week's card for the metabolites still existing, which makes me
yeah,
question.
yeah, like they tried to just gloss over that like it was just so chill. And I'm like, hey, bro, like hasn't guys gotten like 2-year suspensions for
Like
having
John
metabolite?
Jones?
I mean, hasn't every guy that's ever popped for steroids is like a metabolite, right? I mean, isn't that like
Yeah.
how it works? So
Yeah.
like, they just like I don't know, did they change the definition or what? I mean, I guess is it like a picogram like type of scenario? Like is
I
it
think
a
it's because USADA didn't catch it. I'm pretty sure the commission caught it. So he's just barred from that commission or they punish him in their state. But it's not like because USADA is who regulates the UFC, and the UFC can punish their fighters as such. But if you fail in a
because
USADA test,
it wasn't USADA because he wasn't signed to the UFC yet.
right?
So a lot of the Contender Series guys are probably extra juicy. Is that what we're learning here?
I think that could potentially be true. And he even
Little,
admitted that when he started fighting, he was like taking steroids, like knowingly doing it because he had insecurities about himself fighting. All good, don't care really, because you don't lose steroid muscle like that. You know what I mean? Like once you develop it, if you continue to work out, it doesn't just go away because you don't take the steroids anymore.
yeah, and I mean, even the definition of like what is a steroid nowadays. You know what I'm saying? Like, there's so many new substances, like the old school anabolic needle in the ass. I mean, it's developed so much, you know,
Oh
so
well, hell,
much
think about
past
Barry
that.
Bonds. He used to just put on the clear is what they call it because it was like a rub on cream. Fucking
Rub
A
on.
Rod used to eat the gummy bears.
Oh yeah, like in the bubble gums. I mean, the test boosting bubble gum the baseball players should. I mean, think about it. If that was out, what was that? The late '90s, early 2000s. I mean, what do they
Yeah,
got out now? I mean,
right.
anybody who's been in the drug world knows that like drugs. I mean, they keep changing, they keep advancing. New stuff comes out. I mean, that I don't think that's limited to just party drugs. Like, I mean, steroid world has to be the same way.
One I will bring up that's hilarious is Dillashaw with EPO. You do have to draw your blood out of your body and put it back in after you spin it to do EPO. So like that one, you're very aware and it's a singular process.
Oh yeah, no doubt though. And I mean, there's definitely plenty of dudes still treating their ass like a pincushion, but like, you know,
Marty
and,
Juiceman.
and I still just don't even know how I feel about it, right? Like, I mean, it's like it's almost naive to expect it to be a level playing field. So it's like you just hats off to the guys that can duck USADA and get away with it. Like you're putting in the work, you're spending the money to fucking get top of the end, fucking chemists and shit and doctors. Or I mean, or is it these guys are bad and we should devalue their wins? Like I honestly, I'm pretty neutral on the whole like fighters using gear type of deal because it's one of those things where like most guys were clean and there was a few assholes, then it would be real easy to dislike those guys. But if you kind of believe the Nate Diaz's of the world that like all these motherfuckers are on steroids, and it kind of looks like most of them are. It's hard. You know what I'm saying? Like I don't know from like a moral judgment perspective, which I don't really look at sports for like morals. I know it's like a real popular thing to do nowadays, but like
I watch it for the sport. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and it's like to do what these guys do without steroids is almost like cruel and unusual. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, so it's weird. It's a weird one. So we got a little off the rails here, but just touching on Quinlan's back, story a little bit. Definitely a little juicy.
It's part of why I texted you and I said, take Quinlan. The dude takes steroids. Like, straight up.
We were betting on the chemical substance in his body, just like every time I bet fucking horse meat.
Horse meat. McGee. Oh, yeah. Or acai boys.
Yeah, man.
You mean Gregory Rodriguez?
Yes. Sorry, that was blank.
Rodriguez.
Gregory Rodriguez, yeah. But yeah, man, we'll get to it. Like I said, we were betting on Quinlan's steroid cycle and didn't disappoint. I mean, the juice was working because I mean, we get a round one brutal KO. I mean, it was the classic thing of like, as once again, no claiming to be, striking expert over here, but you hear guys talk about all the time, don't throw naked kicks. Set up your kicks with the hands. Finish your combination with a kick. Don't start it with a kick. Case in point.
Witt throws that left kick and literally puts his hand on his hip.
The stiffest, juiciest left that we've seen in some time. I mean, that was one of the more instant lights out KOs. Especially at welterweight.
Well, 180.
Impressive. Yeah, catch weight.
Quinlan weighted at 175, so like he wasn't. Yeah. I mean, he just didn't do his last day of cut. Yeah, so it sounds like Jason Witt wasn't going to make that weight.
Yeah, well, he needs to get in touch with Quinlan's guys, but
but yeah, I mean, short story long, I guess is how we went about it. But long story short is that Quinlan starches Witt. He only landed 3 total strikes in the fight. Jason Witt only landed 2. So there were 5 total strikes landed in this fight, and there's a starching KO.
Wow. It's even more impressive hearing those numbers because those numbers usually end up being higher than you thought. Like, remember the time like Hamzat starched him on like the first punch of the fight, but it turns out there was a couple feints and leg kicks, and they counted as like the 6th. To know that there was 5 strikes thrown by each guy is really wild.
Yeah. 5 strikes landed between each fighter, like for the total of the fight. 5. Like, think about people that do over-under strikes betting or strike total betting. Would you ever think 5 would be the answer?
Well, you got to be a real piece of shit to bet that.
The degenerate.
But yeah, man, this fight lasts 2 minutes and 9 seconds. Now, we got to talk, just real briefly hit on it. It was pretty cool, I guess you could say, how, I mean, because we noted that, Witt was absolutely out cold, and then Quinlan's like halfway down with the Francis Ngannou Stipe fucking fatality bomb, and he pulls up like halfway, which I thought was pretty cool, man. I mean, if you're able to, and if you're not able to, I don't think you're a bad guy, but the fact that he was able to kind of stop in time, no unnecessary damage, out cold. Ref was stepping in, no need, I don't know. I liked it. Now, and then he gets on the mic, starts talking about Jesus and everything. Like,
yeah, I hated that from a guy that cheats.
Yeah, the juice, and I don't want to hurt anybody, but it separated a man from consciousness. It was a weird interview. Probably not the most likable guy. Like, definitely, you see the hypocrisy, and I mean, I don't know, man. I like my juicers the old school way.
I like him to be bad guys, like John Jones. I like him being a bad guy. John Jones,
Brock Lesnar,
Dillashaw,
Chaelson, and Dillashaw. Like, if you're go about it like a man.
Right. Like, if Usman ever gets popped for juice, I will hate that guy because he's always acting like he's so natural and works so hard.
True.
But we all know he's the CEO of BPO. Marty Juice. Yeah, high horse. And oh, God.
But, man, all right, we'll keep it pushing, man, because this next flyweight fight was, I mean, pretty impressive. I mean, we got Tyson Nam coming in plus 295, fighting Ode Osborne minus 360. flyweight bout. Now, did not bet this one, so I got to kind of, I can't puff my chest out too hard. I did think this money line was way too big.
Me too. Weird you say that. I woke up Saturday morning and thought to myself driving to work, I really like Tyson Nam tonight.
Yeah.
Weird, like a weird thought.
The O'Day Osborne hype train is like, that's a real thing. He's getting a push. Like, the UFC wants to see him do well for whatever reason. Pretty marketable guy, I guess you could say. And then Tyson Nam, hasn't been super active, has a few L's, but to studs, has some dope wins as well. That Matt Schnell loss is aging super well.
I believe he took some time off from.
He got hurt, I believe.
That's what it was, yeah, because he hadn't fought since January 20th of 2021, and that was a split loss to Schnell. And before that, he'd won 2.
Which I think that Schnell loss has aged really well.
Well, dude, his other losses, like before he got to the UFC, he lost the title fight to Zhalga Zumagulov, who is ranked. You know what I'm saying? He lost to Sergio Pettis, his debut in the UFC. I'm not hating on that loss. Lost to Cara France in his second fight in the UFC. I mean,
just fought for a belt.
Right, and then beat Zaruk Adeshev, beat Jerome Rivera, split decision loss to Matt Schnell. I mean, if you look at the guy's record, it's good. Like, he has a KO loss to Marlon Moraes back in 2013 when Moraes was a monster. I mean, the dude, he has a win over Ali Bagatino. Yeah, I mean, this guy has an impressive record, and you see 20-12-1, coming to this fight, and you think, well, that's kind of a salty record, but he's fought salty dudes.
Oh, the saltiest. And then O'Day Osborne is the opposite. Like, yeah, prettier record, but lost to some mid guys and beaten some mid guys. I mean, you know what I mean? I think, yeah, this money line was way off, and we'll get to it. I mean, but yeah, this jumped off the screen at me. We probably should have pulled the trigger on Nam, and I think you see where we're going with this. I mean, we got upset of the night. We got upset of the night. We got performance of the night.
Deservedly so. This was awesome, this finish.
First round KO. And, I mean, also DC's commentary on this fight was so annoying because before we get to the knockout, O'Day is just like, kind of leg kicking around, point fighting from the outside. Neither guy's really doing much damage, and then DC's just nut riding O'Day the whole time. Like, and Bisping's like, well, what are you talking? Like, I like Bisping. They were like 90 seconds into the fight, and DC's like, oh yeah, O'Day's definitely winning this. What did you say, boys? And then Bisping's just like, whoa, I mean, the fight just started. So like, what are you talking about? Like,
Bisping and Prince Fitzgerald were like, well, they're not even halfway into the round, so that's hard to say.
The first round,
right? That's halfway into the first round of the fight, yeah. And then they have the debate on. Well, then they have the debate on smiling, and he's like, no, I'm telling you guys, like, when someone's smiling in there, those shots are hurting him. And Bisping's like, some guys are just, like, savages and weird, and they just smile.
Yeah, no, 100%, man, 100%. And I think both are true, but, yeah, like, I honestly like them together, like Bisping, kind of like the oil and the water, the yin and the yang, like that.
Well, because he's not afraid to go against DC, and he's a striking background base, and it's the exact opposite of DC, right? For almost all intents and purposes, other than that they were just both bigger or upper level weights is about the only thing they share.
Yeah, and champs. But yeah, no doubt, man. I kind of like them as a team, kind of balance each other out. Now, getting to this fight, what took place inside the octagon. So, I mean, Osborne, having some limited success with some leg kicks, but starts to get a little cocky, and he throws one flying knee and whiffs. And then a few moments later, he tries to throw that same flying knee. Tyson catches it in there, times it. I don't know if I've ever really seen anybody counter a flying knee before. I mean, it's happened, but that fight or flight, like 9 guys out of 10, 99 guys out of 100 are just going to try to, self-preservations when somebody's throwing
just get off the center line and get out of the way.
Block it. But to have the presence of mind, the awareness to time and counter it, a flying knee, the single most dangerous, strike really in MMA.
Well, and you could tell he didn't, instead of sitting on the hook, he popped his shoulders up and kept himself up and just kind of came wide with it because he knows that knee is coming up. But if he stands fully, there's no way O'Day Osborne's getting that knee up, and he was dropping his hands to throw it right to jump. So his face is sitting there to just be picked off his head.
And obviously, his feet have left the ground, so there's no You
There's no
can't like
side-to-side
absorb it.
footwork. He's chosen a direction and must continue that motion.
And it lands so accurately, so hard, so well timed. Drops Ode.
And then he caught him with two very clean shots as he's falling to the ground, too. Like when Ode was like hit the ground, he caught him with that nice little uppercut. Tyson Nam is very accurate and has powerful hands. Like he can be someone at flyweight that's troublesome with just the amount of power and accuracy he has.
Yeah, and like I said, I mean, he's just fought nothing but hammers. What a fucking schedule he's fought. I mean, I think this is like I said, I think this was like the perfect storm of Ode being a little bit overrated, Tom being a little bit underrated, and their paths crossed. You know, those ships crossed in the night, like just at that right time. You know, Ode Osborne probably the bigger, stronger guy, probably the better athlete, but I mean, Nam's timing, Nam's understanding to make reads and make adjustments on the fly, and I don't know, man. I think he's like Nam way better at mixed martial arts. Ode just probably the better athlete.
Yeah, you know, I mean, took 18 months off from being in a fight camp, and it seems like it improved him.
Yeah, definitely looked great. I mean, yeah, and Ode. I mean, this has to take a lot of steam out of wind out of his sails. I mean. As I said, we're saying nice things about Nam, but I mean, he doesn't necessarily have like the highest highest standing in the division in the promotion, you know. So yeah, bad L for Ode, great win for Tyson. Performance of the night, cash is plus 295. I almost bet this. I picked it, but I didn't bet it.
Yeah, me too. It was so weird.
I sent you the picture of my picks. Nam was on it, but. Like I said, it wasn't so much that I was picking Nam to win. I just saw this as way closer to 50-50 coin toss, and if you're given plus 295, that value was insane.
Yeah, if I get 3 times my money to bet a guy that I think is 50-50, I'm going to take that than the guy that gets me a quarter of my money at 50-50.
Yeah, no doubt, man. But yeah, great win for Tyson Nam. First bonus of the night, second first-round knockout of the night. And I mean, very entertaining. This card really did deliver from like a performance perspective. What it lacked in names, the performances, you know, made up for it.
And we got some weird stuff too, like the draw. We have like I think 3 split decisions on this entire fight card.
Definitely.
But we also had some really electric finishes, which I mean, I guess we can keep it pushing because we already had 2, and we're going to go ahead and work our way into the third here.
Oh, you mean the fucking Can Bowl 2022?
Dude, this was a loser. What did I write here? I wrote, this feels like a loser leaves town type of fight. It's the first sentence I wrote on this. I can't believe Charlie Ontiveros is still in the UFC.
I mean, people want to give shit to Smile and Sam. You know, Ontiveros is out here with the contract. Like, but the same shit for Gabriel Benitez. I mean, goddamn, I went to their Tapology and thought I was in a YG video with all the red.
All the red?
Like, just all red. Just L City, man. Just for both guys. Like, that's why, like, I'll be real. This is another one where I thought there was maybe some value because I don't give a fuck. Call me a hater. Gabriel Benitez didn't deserve to be minus 325 over anybody that can fog a mirror. And then Ontiveros, I mean, plus 270, but it's like it's the Spider-Man. I mean, they're the same guy.
And he's such a can that do you even ever bet cans even when they are plus odds?
Or what can be can? That's why I didn't understand the money line, and I will get to it. Vegas ends up kind of smelling like roses here. I mean, but I just didn't understand a can over another can being like a 3-1 anything. Like, I don't know. It was almost like a can toss-up, in my opinion, which therefore led me to like the Ontiveros value. Now, I'm not a fucking moron, so I would never bet on Ontiveros, but I mean, every week I make my picks, and I was going down on paper picking, you know, and I picked Ontiveros just because I'm like, well, I mean, Benitez at minus 325. What? Like, no, just no. I mean, Ontiveros plus 270. Also no, but still, like,
still would feel better than the minus 325 on Benitez. I mean, getting into the fight. I mean, getting into it, takes place.
Ontiveros 11-8 coming into this one.
Yeah, well, Benitez 22-11. Like, I know that's a better record, but he also has fought so many more cans to get those wins.
Yes. Sorry, but continue at lightweight. At can weight.
At can weight, you can tell that Benitez was the stronger guy in the octagon for the most part. Ontiveros is a real scrappy guy. he also has the Smiling Sam proclivity to throw back hard when he gets cracked, and he gets cracked a lot. So that's why you see Ontiveros get finished a lot, is because he'll just start pretty much brawling with you. Well, Benitez is cool to brawl too.
And, and before Ontiveros started brawling, like the first 60 seconds of the fight looked almost like Wonder Boy Thompson-esque. I mean, there was 2 landed axe kicks. Like Ontiveros, I mean, the fight couldn't have started much better for him. He's keeping the distance, landed a few straight punches, 2 dope-ass axe kicks. Like, they were dope. Like, when you see him land those axe kicks, you're like, oh, this is why he has a contract. Like, I have a feeling Ontiveros is one of those guys you hear about who's fucking sick at the gym but just can't perform on fight night. Because, like, the techniques he possesses, the length, he's a pretty solid athlete. Like, the potential's there, but it's like the classic definition of, like, potential will get you fired. You know what I mean? Like,
well, you know what I noticed, man, was incredibly creative striker, but when he's making these creative transitions with his striking that are Wonder Boy-esque, he is not defensively sound while doing that. And that's where his problem is. This Wonder Boy does all that flashy shit from a defensive stance. Ontiveros kind of goes for it.
Also, his ability to not, like, cut angles. If he learned how to cut angles, he'd be very dangerous. He just goes straight back. It's just
I know it.
Like straight back and straight forward.
And then when he gets clipped, when he gets clipped
or taken down.
But then he doesn't fight smart. He doesn't even go for a clinch. He'll just start throwing back. He'll stick his foot in the ground and pretty much draw a line in the sand. That's also that's a defensive mistake.
Which, like, not soft. Like, Ontiveros, we made some jokes, some canned jokes and all that. The guy's a dog, but it's like like a dumb dog, like a dog that chases cars into traffic. Like,
right. Like, I'm glad you're tough, and if you're gonna be dumb, you got to be tough. But tough ain't the word to describe fighters in 2022.
If you're gonna fall down, you got to get back up. Yeah, no, I think, yeah, man, exactly. And I mean, yeah, Ontiveros looked good until he didn't look good. Now Benitez, he got the takedown was pretty dope. And then before he got the takedown, the clinch bows were pretty nasty, which Ontiveros just also doesn't just take shots well at all. Like, for all the mental errors he makes, the chin is super sus.
He's been cracked so many times. Like, he gets cracked.
Chicken or the egg there. And yeah, man, Benitez gets the TKO. I mean, once Ontiveros started, like, getting hurt, I mean, you kind of saw where it was going. We've seen it before. I mean, however many times, a lot, even just in the Beefy Boys era, of just once he gets hurt, he just doesn't.
He can't recover
well. He doesn't recover well.
Well, he doesn't recover smart either. Like, he tries to go to war and then gets further hurt, and then takes recovery completely off the table.
No, man, it looked like an Ontiveros fights looked. I mean, you know what I mean? It looked exactly how you kind of expected it to look. Exactly how Vegas expected it to look. Like I said, if you bet this fight for either guy, like, you literally need to call the fucking gambling hotline because you're a fucking scumbag. And, like, but
do you think do you think Mike Beltran let it go a little longer? Or are you all right with? I was nitpicking, but I thought maybe he let Ontiveros eat 2 or 3 shots that were just totally unnecessary.
There was a lot of fights, like a lot of TKOs in this that were stopped, like, and not hair late, like, not tragic, not like, oh my God.
There was one tragically late stoppage on the main card.
Yes, there was, but I think there was a lot that kind of walked right up to that line and kind of danced on it a little bit. Like, this one wasn't, like, egregious. You're right. We do have a really late stoppage on this card, but I'll allow it.
I will too. Oddly enough, I know that's so weird to say, but man, let's keep it pushing because we got second leg of the dog parlay here.
Well, yeah, no, first leg of
first leg. I'm sorry, first leg. That's what I mean to say.
Yeah, we got Cynthia Calvillo minus 190 coming in ranked 12. Fighting Nina Nunes, former Nina Ansaroff, plus 160, fighting off flyweight. Now, this was, I don't know. Nina Nunes, I think she took like 18 months off, had a kid. I think that's the big reason why she was the plus 160 underdog. But when you looked at it, Calvillo's on a 3, maybe even a 4-fight skid, and the last two of those losses were horrendous. Like, looked piss poor. Like, looked like I remember on the breakdowns, we're like, does she want to do this? Like, is this what you know what I mean? Like,
she has some of the stiffest footwork I've ever seen in my life. Like, it is not fluid. It looks forced. She kind of plods around. It's a weird style.
and just like lack of competitiveness, like lack of sense of urgency. You know what I mean? Like she understands the positions, she understands the technique from like I think like a cerebral level. Like I think it's one of those things like when you can't teach. Like she's probably a dope ass teacher. Like her patience, her understanding, but like as far as having like. I mean, fighting spirit's super cliche, but competitiveness, I think, is like a fair word to use. Like the sense of urgency, the competitiveness, the drive, the mama mentality, the killer instinct, whatever you want to put it. I mean, I don't see that at all. It's like a sparring session. Like from an intensity perspective, from almost even from like a game plan perspective, you can't say she's going for the finish or trying to finish her opponent. She's just trying to, make it to 15 minutes, try to, get some footwork in, pump out some feints. Like it's I don't know, man. I honestly can't stand watching Calvillo fight. And I had every reason to like her. She's from San Jose, California. I mean, I kind of like her personality. I mean, she seems like a great person, but dude, watching her fight is just brutal. Now, like I said, that what I just described combined with the 3-fight L streak, I love the Nunes plus money because there is a question mark about Nunes. She's had a kid, right? And she hasn't fought since she had a kid, and she's coming up a weight class. So each lady had question marks, but like I feel much more secure in question marks from Nunes on like how she's going to bounce back from the kid in the new weight class and all that. Me questioning whether or not somebody even wants to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, I feel
or even like, skill set belongs to be there, Like, I think I appreciate Nina Nunes' skill set a lot more than Calvillo's, too. I just thought that Nina Nunes coming up 10 pounds and the way Calvillo seems to be kind of a boxier striker with an all right clinch game, I was like, the styles might not match well for her, but I was fully down to ride it with you. And I'm happy that we did.
Yeah.
And I think getting into it, the first round kind of showed, I mean, a lot of leg kicks from both girls. Nunes pretty much dodged all the leg kicks Calvillo tried to return with, which was hilarious to me. Like, she was just so much lighter on her feet. Calvillo did land 2 or 3 good shots in that first round, but I saw it 10-9 Nunes.
Yeah, I literally said round 1, Nunes won the leg kicking contest. I mean, that's pretty much what it was. The crowd was booing. I mean, but like I said, it's hard to, like, not blame that on Calvillo. Like, it's hard to get in an exciting fight with Calvillo, at least as of late, how she's been fighting. Now, round 2, I thought is really the only round worth really diving into, and I thought really the only round that could go either way. Now, I guess the judges disagree. One judge gave 2 rounds to Calvillo, and I'm really interested to see which rounds they are, because I thought round 2 was the only round that you could even kind of conceivably give Calvillo. I still did not. I gave it to Nunes. Now, I think I am kind of in the minority here. I think most people probably did give round 2 to Calvillo.
However, I went Calvillo.
I feel you.
Oddly enough, the up kicks might have been more damaging in the biggest moments of the round.
That's literally my notes. You just read my notes telepathically. Like, seriously, like I didn't necessarily – I feel like Calvillo won more of the round, but she won it in a snoozy way.
She is a snoozy fighter, man.
Like, Nunes was just fine. She wasn't hurting her at all. She wasn't putting her in bad positions. I mean, I
agree with that.
Calvillo maybe did more work in the round from, like, a volume perspective, but those fucking 4 or 5 up kicks, I mean, completely won the damage battle. And I don't know, man. Like I said, I gave it to Nunes. I don't hate giving it to Calvillo, but I gave it to Nunes.
So far, just from the judges' perspective here, all 3 saw the round 1 to Nunes. 2 of 3 saw round 2 to Calvillo. So 2 judges have it 19-19. 1 judge has it 20-18 Nina Nunes, which I think these are fair things. I think that's pretty much how this fight is going from like an observant stamp. Anyway, whatever I'm trying to say here is that the third round gets a lot more fun because it stays entirely on the feet, and I thought Nunes was just clearly better on the feet. And was way more active in the third round, it seemed.
Activity. I have that in my notes as well. Round 3, the least snoozy round of the fight. The volume, the activity. Then the takedown defense as well. Calvillo finally decided to start shooting, but they were like lazy, awful takedowns. Nunes, I mean, they weren't even close. Nunes, I mean, so I scored it 30-27 Nunes. Like I said, I don't mind 29-28 Nunes at all.
That's what I had it as. So now, Derek Cleary scores round 3. Derek Cleary scores round 3 to Cynthia Calvillo. And that's how you get a 29-28 Calvillo.
if it was one, I would have like lawyered balled my way there. Not dying on the hill. I'll die on the hill for round 3.
Yeah, round 3 was that's the clearest round of the fight. How can you misscore the clearest round?
Yeah, round 1, a little wiggle room. Round 2, a lot of wiggle room. Round 3 was like the only definitive round 1. Like wasn't really close. That's bizarre.
It blew me away to see round 3 be scored because I definitely thought in the moment like, oh, they gave her 1 and 2. I get it because round 1 was so like low activity, snoozy, but like to give round 3, this takes me back to the original draw was the law. Like I don't know what the hell they're seeing.
Yeah, that's a really brutal scorecard for sure. So Nunes gets the split decision. She takes off her gloves. She retires. I think she's like 35 years old. She just had her first kid. She wants to have another one. Totally understandable, right? Like the biological.
Yeah, she's retiring to go on to a different phase of life. Like she's just past fighting, and I love that she won her last fight and then had the wherewithal to retire.
Also, let's not forget her wife, multimillionaire. You know what I'm saying?
Champion, double champ again. Great point.
She's essentially going to be a trophy wife. Good for her.
Good life. It's a good life.
Oh, being Amanda Nunes' wife for sure. It's a good life. Fucking peak lesbian goals for sure. But yeah, no, I mean, I'm happy for Nunes. Both Nunes, the Nunes family, happy for all of them. I mean, going out on a win, I mean, good for you. I mean,
yeah, don't go out like Cerrone. Go out like Nunes.
And then, for sure. And then, exactly. Going out like kind of relatively not on top, but
and on your terms. Like the UFC didn't tell you to leave. You decided that you're ready to leave.
Yeah, don't just milk it like Sam Alvey.
Sam Alvey, which he said he's going to try to sign with Bellator. That's hilarious.
He should go PFL, to be honest.
Yeah, with the way he fights.
Yeah,
and his social media following.
No doubt. Either way, I mean, I'm probably cool on all of it. Maybe do some submission grappling or something, but
grappling Sam Alvey?
I'm just saying, I don't know how many more headshots that man needs to take, But regardless, I think Calvillo, man, just
shout out.
Fucking, done. I'm just done, man. And I think Calvillo is done too. Like whether, I don't know. I know I'm just on Chael's nuts today, but Chael, another thing he likes to say is you'll never be done with the sport. One day the sport's done with you. And I mean, I'm done with Calvillo. You know what I mean? Probably getting close to be.
How could he not be? The way she fights is so boring. And she's on a big L streak. That's all it takes usually.
4 L streak, and like I said, I mean, some of those losses have been to beast monsters. I mean, some tough fights in there. But like I said, it's not even the result as much as the performance, right? She has performed just god awful, at least the past 3, maybe the last 4.
That's what I'm saying from an eye test standpoint, from a selling ticket standpoint, from a matchup standpoint. Just a nightmare to have on your roster, really.
Exactly, man. I mean, we've seen her go from co-main event all the way to the prelims. I mean, she's just working her way out the door, right? I mean, that's
right.
So. Yeah, we can keep it pushing because we got another controversial decision in this next fight. I can't wait to see how you score this one. We got Martin Buday, heavyweight, coming in big favorite, minus 295. Fighting Lucas Bresky. Now, Buday came in at 266 pounds. Bresky came in at 236. We got a 30-pound discrepancy. And then DC was saying that in the octagon, Buday was probably at 280, 285. Probably.
Oh, he looked huge. Huge. The UFC wants to build Buday as well. They have a lot in him. Now, granted, Bresky is Dana White Contender Series guy, so they clearly have a lot in him too. But just from the standpoint of they brought Buday in outside of it because he was a champion in Octagon MMA out in I think Russia or Slovenia, Slovakia, wherever the hell. But I mean, he does have the nice win over Chris Barnett, and I think when they saw that and the way he fought, and how smart he was in that fight. And he's powerful. I think the UFC put a lot into him.
Nightmare matchup. See, I didn't put that much stock into it. I mean, I don't know. A giant guy beating up the smallest heavyweight in the division. I don't know. I feel you. Chris Barnett has the But you got to remember that head kick knockout was against washed Jan Vellante, like extra washed Jan
True.
Vellante, like the most washed version of Jan Vellante. So it's like
Very true.
I think there was just a lot of like off perspective here on Budai. No, I picked Budai, but for different reasons, mainly the size.
Yeah,
More
you would
so
just
than
think
Lorenzo
30
Mena
pounds.
and the height.
Yeah, you'd think close to 40 pounds of differential, maybe even 45 in a fight has to make a difference.
No,
Especially if you're going to tell me it goes to decision, because I'm going to tell you that big guy probably got tired, but how tired was his opponent of having to deal with that pressure and weight?
well, and so round one pretty much looked exactly how you'd expect it to look from a 235-pound heavyweight fighting a massive heavyweight, which is one guy's got to use the movement, one guy's got to keep the distance, one guy's got to pump the jab and be the quicker guy with the better footwork. And I thought that's what happened. I thought round one, I found it pretty easy to score. I scored a 10-9 Bresky. The jab was tearing up the nose. The volume, the significant strikes was like, 3-1, 4-1. I mean, it wasn't that close. I mean, I thought, now, as expected, like this fight, like I said, classic example, like how your mind's eye pictures a 235-pound heavyweight fighting a 280-pound heavyweight. Like how you see that fight, it's how it looked. When Boudet would land, it would be massive. It would be huge. It would be big and slow. And then you got the smaller guy sticking and moving on the outside. It looked exactly how you thought it would. But in round one, I favored Bresky.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, man. I thought the volume, the jab being so stiff on the face of Boudet just visually was nice for him. Yeah, I mean, and strikes landed. They're both heavyweights, man. So it's hard for me to say, like, flyweight, I could see a guy landing 40 punches to his opponent's 16 or whatever. And let's just say those are the numbers. And maybe those 40 strikes aren't as impactful. But at heavyweight, even a jab can put a guy out. So to land 40 strikes at heavyweight and your opponent lands 16, I know he was throwing more, but Boudet also landed a terrible clip. Like, his accuracy was really not there.
Oh, he looked super slow. Now, as the fight went on, I thought it got closer and closer and murkier and murkier.
It was like the scale just shifting, right? The whole fight was like and that's what you should expect here is the more in-shape, fast guy should dominate. And as time goes on, if the big guy doesn't gas, then the small guy is going to have a lot of shit to deal with by the time minutes 12, 13, and 14 hit.
Now, how did you score round two? I thought round two was one of the murkier rounds to score and where some of the murkiness comes into play. I thought it could go either way.
Honestly, so in my notes, I have pretty much a toss-up of a round. I mean, I didn't even put extremely close. I put toss-up. Yeah. Because it's what you value and what you like, right?
Yeah,
and
very subjective.
And also, like, did you value Bresky's volume in the first? Because, I mean, he does keep the volume up, but also Boudet starts to land more effectively and kind of match. And I also thought he was landing the better shots, right? Like, being the heavier guy, he was landing the bigger shots. I went Boudet for round two. I thought the damage was actually in his favor.
See, I went Bresky, but purely off the volume and activity. And I also wrote it was a way better round for Boudet. And Boudet was starting to find a lot more success. Like, I thought the, pendulum was starting to move that direction, but didn't quite cross the threshold,
Yeah.
But like I said, toss-up of a round. You went Boudet. I went Bresky. I don't think either of us are really wrong. How did the judges see that? Where are we at with the judges so far?
So one judge sees it same as you, as Bresky up 2018. Two of the judges have it 1919. I thought round three was kind of more clearly Boudet's round, if there's going to be any round.
Yeah. See, I thought round three was Boudet's best round of the fight.
Me too.
Round two being so close definitely swings me to the side of Boudet. I thought it was very close, though. I mean, I just thought that the power was starting to really land. Bresky was, obviously third round heavyweight, starting to slow down, so Boudet was able to find him, track him down a little better.
Yeah, right. When the fast heavyweight slows down and becomes the same speed as the big heavyweight, then it just becomes a size battle.
Equalized, for sure, which I thought favored Boudet. So, like I said, I scored it 29-28 Bresky, with round two being literally like a toss-up. So, and that pretty much describes this fight. I mean, so what? Two judges saw it like you did, one judge saw it like I did?
Yeah, so split decision for Boudet. Boudet, however you say it. I think it's, whatever, it doesn't matter. Martin. You know, it's one of those fights where I think going forward, not going to be terrible for either guy on their resume, honestly, because I think both these guys do have pretty good skill sets.
Yeah, both of these guys have good skill sets, and it's also like I think that's how these fights are going to look for both of these guys. Like Budai's really fucking big, so if he wins, it's going to be by landing big power shots, and
And
if and
he kind of also picks his volume up as the fight goes too. Like
which is
he's
pretty
slow starter.
impressive.
Yeah,
Pretty
for yeah.
impressive. And then Bresky, smaller heavyweight, he's going to have to, use the jab and move around a lot and throw a lot of volume, which he did. So, yeah, like I said, I don't think either guy, I don't really go stock up or stock down on either guy. Pretty much like stock neutral for me on both.
Stock neutral.
And like, it's, I don't know. A lot of people are calling this a robbery and a bullshit decision. I'm not going that far, especially like we just broke it down for you. I mean, round one, I thought pretty clearly Bresky. Round three, pretty close, but I think fair enough to say Budai. Round two could have gone either way, totally subjective. So I don't think either, no matter how it went, it wasn't going to be a robbery.
See, that's my thing is it can't be a robbery when I tell you that one of the rounds is completely a toss-up, 50-50, and I saw the opposing rounds of the start and finish of the fight to be opposite. Well, that's kind of the pendulum swinging like we talked about. Like, it literally was right there on that center line, like grandfather clock, you know what I mean?
Exactly. It just depends, like, where you were at, like, you know
right.
what I mean? But, yeah, for sure, man. Budai gets the win. Gets the split decision, and yeah, we'll see what happens with him from there. Big old boy. No, we'll keep it pushing. Man, this next fight was I don't think anybody saw this one going the way it went.
Second leg.
Second leg. We got Angela Hill, Overkill Hill, big fan favorite, UFC vet, holds a bunch of strawweight records. 13th ranked strawweight, coming in a big dog plus 275. Fighting Lupe Godinez minus 330. They fought at catchweight 120 because I'm pretty sure Angela Hill took it on pretty short notice, so they moved it up or they changed the date, something along those lines. It's 5 pounds. Who gives a shit? Two strawweights fighting each other. Man, and like I think so. Like I mean, Lupe Godinez, and I won't even say, oh, this is what other people are saying. How I felt, straight up, I felt like this was probably the best prospect in the strawweight division. I mean. We've seen her look amazing both on the feet and on the ground. I mean, I know I was super stock up, super dauber up on Godinez, even before I found out she was matched up with Angela Hill. And then Angela Hill, I think, is what, like one out of the last 6 or
but I mean, bro, she's that woman that has those robberies of split decisions. Twice she's been robbing those splits.
Yes, fair.
Now, granted, we do always say that, but how long can we keep saying that when the record keeps stacking L's?
What I'm saying, even if you give her those splits, it's what 3 and
3 and 3.
Last 7 or 3.
Yeah, right.
It's still not great. It's still not great, and we've seen her lose to some killers, but we've also seen her lose to some kind of mid fighters, right? So it's like, and her age, the broadcasting career, the family. You know what I mean? She I think most people just assume that, she was kind of on the other side, which she probably is, still regardless of the outcome of this. But, it was great to see her perform well. And we'll get to results, but just Angela Hill outperformed all expectations, like regardless of how it plays out. Like I think she showed us that there was still something left in the tank. She's still a dog. And I don't think the technique's ever been questioned, right? She's always had great striking. And
and good volume.
And I think she displayed the improved takedown defense. You know what I mean? All the things that we've been like questioning her about, I think she showed she was working on.
So that's the one thing that surprised me most about this fight is I fully expected Godinez to try and wrestle a lot more than she did. She honestly out-volumed Angela Hill, which I never would have thought would be the case. I thought this would have been a lot more control for Godinez with good, smart exchanges, her probably getting some top position, and Overkill Hill trying to keep it on the feet and keep distance.
Yeah, and I thought that if Overkill did try to keep it on the feet, that Godinez would be able to land that power shot. I thought she was going to have the big power advantage, which she did. Whenever Godinez, especially in the first round, landed some big shots on Hill that essentially wobbled Hill, had her pretty hurt. And then But yeah, round one, we'll get to it, man. Round one was a war. These ladies got after it. I mean, it was really fun. Like really, really fun. Probably second most fun fight on the whole card. If we're just talking fun, you know what I mean?
Just pure fun, back and forth, fun striking exchanges. Both girls getting after it. I mean, switching up the way that they fought to. Each girl gets a takedown at certain points in the fight. Now, all that being said, I thought scoring it wasn't that hard.
See, I had a little trouble. I thought 1 and 3 were fucking close as shit. Like
I thought they were close, but I did like Godinez in round one. Now, round three, when we get to it, yeah, I'm with you. I had trouble with round three.
See, and just to prove my point, I gave round one to Hill. Granted, I have like close, war, all the kind of caveat little things in my notes, but so Godinez hurt Hill bad in the first like minute of the round. I think she dropped her once and then wobbled her a second time. It was not looking good for Hill. But I mean, the recovery from Hill was fan-fucking-tastic. I mean, it was
very impressive. Like, I couldn't believe she was able to recover so well after all of her fight miles.
And then started, she landed a couple of head kicks, was catching Godinez circling into the head kick, and then landed the big flying knee at the end of the round, which in slow-mo, it landed a decent amount of chest, but it was impactful, and it did land. And it was pretty goddamn close to the chin. I think he touched a little chin there. And, like, I don't know, man. I thought she stole the round back. Like I said, I mean, between the later half of the round being slightly weighted, whether it's subconsciously or whether it's supposed to be or not, it is. And then, like I said, the head kick and the flying knee and all the things that took place in between. Like, so I think, Hill very clearly won the last minute. Godinez very clearly won the first minute. I thought Hill kind of won those middle 3 minutes as well, not by a slimmer margin. But I don't know. I thought it was a very close round. I don't hate you giving it to Godinez, like the damage, the knockdown.
More so, I think that knockdown just stood out to me as the biggest moment. I know the flying knee was good. I just thought Godinez, for it being very close in strike numbers, I thought she was landing the harder, more impactful strikes.
Fair. Not like I said, I'm probably out on a limb on this one. I don't know. And it was hard to, like, not factor in how much of, like, what do they call that, under-promise, over-deliver. Like, I wasn't expecting much from Hill, so to see her perform like this, like, I was hyped. The announcers were hyped. Bisping and everybody was, Twitter was feeling it. We were all like, holy shit. Like, we haven't seen this Angie Hill in a minute.
Yeah, just going for it. That's what was so fun.
My scorecard, like I'm human. I'm not going to say it couldn't have factored in, But we can keep it pushing around too.
I thought Angela Hill just going for it started to take over more in round two, where I thought she had the. Now the first thing I said about Godinez, I'm going to say about Angela Hill here. I thought she had the better moments in round two, and I thought she started to pick up not even the pace, but I guess the level of shot, like the damaging shots were starting to accumulate.
Yeah, well, and I thought the game plan from Hill, like that, just the technical application was fantastic because this is where I think Hill won this fight. As much as she won it from, you can say heart or fist, I thought she won this fight from the neck up. I thought the fight IQ was a big gap with Godinez, which makes sense. I mean, Hill's like the most veteran, has more fights than any strawweight, and Godinez has like 8 pro fights. So, I mean, that's how it was supposed to be, but we all thought that the physical of Godinez would outweigh that. I don't think anybody ever thought Godinez was going to outthink Angela Hill or out-game plan Angela Hill. But I thought Angela Hill, like, was on some, like, Tom Brady type shit of, like, winning the game from the neck up, just, like, being a step ahead, knowing what was going to take place. And what I'm getting at here, in round two, we both said at the start of the fight, Godinez had the wrestling advantage. Probably still does. But just her inability to mix the martial arts. Like, Angela Hill started feigning takedowns, actually got a takedown, and you can see it happening in a real time. Like, it got Godinez thinking. And like any coach or any sport will tell you, don't think, dude. Don't think, react. Like, if you're thinking, you're slow. Don't hear football coaches say, play fast, don't think. Like you could see Godinez's wheels turning like a cartoon. Like, you could see her thinking, like, oh, shit. Is she going to take it down? Is biting on all the feints. I mean, Angela Hill's feints.
You can see her lack of experience, man. That's what I mean is, like, Angela Hill started connecting those better shots because she started mixing the martial arts, feigning things that Godinez was falling for, and that allowed her to have a lot more success, at least. Strike numbers, I think, aren't that different across the rounds. I just think it's the impactfulness of the strikes.
And the fourth pressure in round two, Angela was moving forward like the whole time. Like I said, got the takedown. I thought round two wasn't close. I thought it was the easiest round to score. Great round for Hill. Now, round three, man, we get back to war. We
back
get
to
back
war.
Right back at it.
You know, oddly enough, I kind of like Loopy in this round until maybe the last 90 seconds. And then I felt like Hill's pressure and pace, I just started to realize, like, she's just overwhelming. Like, Godinez was fighting back. It's not like she ever quit. It's not like she ever stood back. I just thought Angie Hill was just, like, laying it all on the line.
No, you're 100% right. Now, maybe that was a cardio advantage where she outlasted her. Maybe it was a who wants it more type of advantage. But, I mean, going into the 4th minute of the 3rd round, I mean, I was about to bust out my quarter. It was a coin toss. I mean, I was full Riddler out here, or no, full Two-Face out here. Two-Face. Just flipping coins because, I mean, I was literally like, fuck, I have to score this? Like, going into round 4, I mean, I usually have, like, a way I'm leaning or, like, okay, unless somebody pulls a rabbit out of the hat here and this round's trending in no direction. I was like, oh, fuck. Like, I got in 60 seconds, I got to give one girl 10 and one girl 9. Like, but that last minute, I thought, like I said, I don't think widening the gap is really even the term to use. It's just like in track, it's like whenever one person kind of leans their head forward and just has that extra tiny little bit. That last minute, little tiny bit more foot on the gas from Angela Hill. I mean, I said going into the 4th minute could have easily been Godinez's round. I thought Angela Hill edged it out in the third, in like the final minute of the final round.
Literally exactly what I saw it. I mean, the first 4 minutes, like you're saying, such a coin flip war where both girls were just showing heart, giving everything they had for it. I mean, I loved this fight. I thought it could have been fight of the night up to that point, or it was at that point.
Oh yeah, 100%. This fight was great. I'm honestly, I hope they got the Dana Duffel. There was a bunch of fights that deserved the Dana Duffel. They didn't give out a lot of bonuses last night, but hopefully they got taken care of. Because there were definitely some very competitive, some very fun fights, very fan-friendly fights.
Absolutely. I mean, so moving forward, you know, Angela Hill, I mean, who knows? She's not going to have a whole lot of fights left, just career-wise.
All judges gave it 29-28 Angela Hill.
Right, yeah, I'm sorry. I should – and they all scored at the exact same. 1 to Godinez, 2 and 3 to Hill, which I think gets a little murky. I wouldn't even mind the 30-27, which it sounds like you might have had.
Yeah, I had 30-27, but like with 2 super close rounds. Like if either one of those went to Godinez, which they did, I'm not mad, not dying on any hills, and for sure.
I think moving forward for Godinez, though, she got that tough back-end test, and now she kind of has to go back, win one more. And then I also think Angela Hill's not the easiest girl at the back end of strawweight as well. You know what I mean?
Especially when she's fighting like that. Especially when she's firing on all cylinders. You're right. Godinez is young enough that I think this ends up being a net positive. I think she was pushed in ways she hasn't been pushed. I think she was maybe humbled in like a healthy way, right? Like just like enough to make her train that little bit harder, be a little bit more disciplined, whatever the case may be. Sharpen up a few things. I think Godinez will be just fine. I still really like her skill set. That power at strawweight is real. The wrestling background is real. I think they say like her sister's like a Pan American wrestling champ, like, and her cousin is too. Like their family's like freak studs in like the women's grappling world in like Latin America. So I mean, got the pedigree, got the power, definitely got the dog. I mean, she fights like every 3 weeks. I mean, she's a fucking dog. I mean, I'm a fan. I'm not dauber down on Godinez. She's young, what, 24, 25, something like that. I mean, so this may be exactly what she needed, to be honest. She didn't take that much damage. I mean, the nose is a little touched up, but I think
28, but still young. 28, still very young.
Yeah, for sure. Especially women's fighting. They seem to fight a little bit older. I don't know. Happy for Angela Hill. No, it's like one of those things. Where does she go from here? How many fights does she have left? Those are, I think, conversations for another day. I think as an Angela Hill fan, I'm just going to enjoy the performance, enjoy getting her hand raised. You know, hopefully she enjoys that win bonus. And whenever she does decide to hang him up, she's definitely going to have a dope legacy, and we're going to definitely enjoy seeing her on a mic and on the TV. You know what I mean? So,
yeah, no, I fully agree with pretty much all those takeaways, and I think this being the feature bout on the prelims, it was like a good Angela Hill feel-good story, and or could have been a good build for Lupe Godinez. And I don't take too much out of her train. Like I said,
No,
one of the tougher girls in the back end of strawweight to fight as far as ranked fighters. And I think Godinez's future is being a ranked fighter in strawweight.
I believe so too, man. But hey, man, that was a fun prelims, fun little start to episode 100. We've done this 100 cards in a row. Please reward that. Support the podcast. Follow our social media. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. Like some videos. That's really the best way you can help us and try to help us get to 100 more episodes. But yeah, man, we'll be right back in a couple of minutes to break down this main card of Fight Night Cruz versus Vera. Let's go.
Yes, sir.